Good morning. Today we'll be continuing about the orbit. In the previous class, we have completed some of the contents of the orbit, especially the orbital and bulbar fascia, the extraocular muscles, the ophthalmic artery has been completed. There are other contents in the eyeball as the superior and inferior ophthalmic veins, the lymphatics, the lacrimal gland, orbital fat. Apart from that, we have the nerves, that is the optic nerve, the oculomotor nerve, trochlear nerve, few branches of the trigeminal nerve, that is ophthalmic and part of the maxillary division of trigeminal nerve, the sympathetic nerves, and last but not the least, we have the eyeball. So, the eyeball will be dealt in a later class. Today, the main objectives which are going to complete are the oculomotor nerve, the trochlear nerve, the abducent nerve, the ophthalmic division of the trigeminal nerve, branches of maxillary artery. Especially, you are going to find the infraorbital nerve as well as the zygomaticotemporal nerve. And last but not the least, we are going to complete about the sympathetic plexus of nerves. So, starting with the oculomotor nerve, it's also called as the third cranial nerve. It supplies all extraocular muscles except superior oblique, which is supplied by the trochlear nerve, and the lateral rectus supplied by the abducent nerve, and also supplies the intraocular muscles. So, coming to the functional components, general somatic efferent, mainly for the muscles of the eyeball, that is the extraocular muscles of the eyeball. General visceral efferent, parasympathetic for the contraction of the pupil and accommodation. General somatic afferent, that is especially the proprioceptive impulses which are going to transmitted from the muscles of the eyeball to the mesencephalic nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. So, the main nucleus of the oculomotor nerve is situated in the central gray matter of the midbrain, ventromedially at the level of the superior colliculus. Apart from this, we are also having the Edinger-Westphal nucleus, which is mainly concerned with the parasympathetic innervation for the constrictor pupillae and ciliaris muscle, which is present close to the oculomotor nuclear complex. So, nuclear connections to the pyramidal tracts of both sides, supranuclear pathway. Apart from that, we have the pretectal nucleus of both sides for light reflex. Fourth nerve, the sixth nerve, and eighth nerve nuclei by medial longitudinal bundle for coordination of eye movements, tectobulbar tract for visuoprotective reflex. So, coming to the course and distribution. So, as I already mentioned to you, the nucleus is present in the midbrain at the level of superior colliculus. So, from there, the nerve passes ventrally through the tegmentum, red nucleus, and substantia nigra. In the base of the brain, it is attached to the oculomotor sulcus on the medial side of crus cerebri. It next passes between the superior cerebellar and posterior cerebellar arteries. In the cavernous sinus, it is related to the lateral wall. Anteriorly, it divides into the superior as well as inferior divisions. It next passes through the superior orbital fissure, that is the middle part of the superior orbital fissure. So you are going to find the nasociliary nerve in between, and inferior laterally you are going to see the abducens nerve. The superior smaller division supplies the superior rectus and levator palpebrae superioris. The inferior larger division further divides into three branches for the medial rectus, inferior rectus, and inferior oblique. The nerve to inferior oblique is the longest, so it carries the parasympathetic fibers to the ciliary ganglia. Note, all branches supply the ocular surface except the nerve to inferior oblique, which supplies from its posterior border. So coming to the applied aspects, so third nerve paralysis causes ptosis, dilatation of pupil, lateral squint, loss of accommodation, slightly proptosis, diplopia, or also called as double vision. So lesion may occur, so midbrain lesion, or it may be supranuclear paralysis. So in case of midbrain lesion, contralateral hemiplegia and ipsilateral paralysis of the third nerve called as Weber syndrome. So in case of supranuclear paralysis of the third nerve causes loss of conjugate eye movements. So ciliary ganglia. It's a peripheral parasympathetic ganglia, lies in the course of the oculomotor nerve. It is wedged between the optic nerve and lateral rectus. The motor fibers, preganglionic parasympathetic fibers, passes through the Eddinga-Vespa nucleus, then through the oculomotor nerve to inferior oblique. From there it relays in the ganglia. The postganglionic fibers passes through short ciliary nerves, that is the branches of nasociliary nerve or ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve, and then it supplies the sphincter pupillae and ciliaris muscle. So these are the intraocular muscles. So it thereby helps in accommodation. The sensory root comes from the nasociliary nerve. It contains the sensory fibers from the eyeball. The sympathetic root, so main branches of the internal carotid plexus, the postganglionic fibers arise from the superior cervical ganglia. It supplies blood vessels of the eyeball and dilator pupillae. So branches, so mainly we have the ganglionic branches which gives us 8 to 10 short ciliary nerves. These pierces the sclera around the entrance of the optic nerve. It contains fibers from all the three roots of the ganglia. So next we have the trochlea nerve, also called as the fourth cranial nerve. It's a purely motor nerve, supplies the superior oblique. So coming to the functional components, general somatic efferent, mainly supplies the superior oblique, that is the lateral movements of the eyeball, general somatic afferent, proprioceptive impulses from the superior oblique. So this reaches the mesencephalic nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. The nucleus is situated in a central gray matter of midbrain, ventromedial part at the level of the inferior colliculus. Note, both the trochlear nerve as well as the oculomotor nerve arises from the midbrain. The oculomotor nerve at the level of superior colliculus, whereas the trochlear nerve at the level of the inferior colliculus. Connections are similar to the oculomotor nerve except for pretectal nuclei. Coming to the course and distribution, it runs dorsally. All the cranial nerves runs ventrally, but this is the only cranial nerve which runs dorsally to reach the upper part of the superior anterior medullary vellum. It decussate with the fibers of the opposite side to emerge from the opposite side, as the only cranial nerve, as I already mentioned to you, emerges from the dorsal aspect of the brain stem. The nerve winds down the superior cerebellar peduncle, passes between the posterior cerebral and superior cerebellar arteries. It emerges between the temporal lobe and upper part of the pons. Next, it runs in the cavernous sinus, that is the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus, and enters the superior orbital fissure, that is the lateral aspect of the superior orbital fissure. And it supplies the superior oblique surface from its orbital surface. So applied aspect mainly diplopia on looking downwards. The next cranial nerve, that is the abducent nerve or the sixth cranial nerve, is purely motor nerve. It supplies the lateral rectus. So functional components, general somatic efferent, mainly supplies the lateral rectus for the lateral movement of eyeball, general somatic afferent, that is the proprioceptive impulses from the lateral rectus, are related to the mesencephalic nucleus of the trigeminal nerve. The nucleus is situated in the upper part of the floor of the fourth ventricle in the lower pons between the facial colliculus, that is beneath the facial colliculus. Connections are similar to the oculomotor nerve except for the pretectal nuclei. The nerve runs ventrally and downwards through the trapezoid body, medial lemniscus, and basilar part of the pons to reach the lower border of the pons. It is attached to the lower border of the pons opposite the upper end of the pyramid of the medulla. In the cavernous sinus, it lies in the lateral wall, that is, it lies lateral to the internal carotid artery. It then enters the middle part of the superior orbital fissure, inferolateral to the oculomotor nerve, and supplies the lateral rectus. Applied aspects mainly squint eye. So paralysis results in medial or internal or convergent squint, and it causes diplopia. So in case of raised intracranial pressure, so it causes fall symptoms. So coming to the branches of the trigeminal nerve. So main branches are the mandibular division, which has already been dealt in the infratemporal fossa. Then maxillary division has been dealt in detail in cranial cavity. But today we are going to see some of the branches which are present within the orbit, especially the infraorbital nerve as well as the zygomaticotemporal nerve. Last but not the least, the ophthalmic division, which will be dealt in this chapter. So ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve arises from the trigeminal ganglia. So this ganglia is a sensory ganglia of the trigeminal nerve. It contains pseudo-unipolar neurons. It is semilunar in shape and it is present on the superior surface near the apex of the trigeminal impression of the pittus part of the temporal bone. It is covered by the trigeminal cave, or it lies within the trigeminal cave. This ganglia contains a central process which is large. It is attached to the pons at the junction of the middle cerebellar peduncle, and peripherally it forms three processes, namely the ophthalmic, maxillary and mandibular processes. So coming to the ophthalmic division of the trigeminal nerve, this lies in the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus. In the anterior part of the sinus, it divides into its three terminal divisions, that is the lacrimal, frontal and nasociliary. The frontal further divides into supratrochlear and supraorbital nerve, which we have come across as the sensory innervation of the face. Nasociliary nerve, it gives branches to the ciliary ganglia, that is 2 or 3 long ciliary nerves, the posterior ethmoidal nerve, infratrochlear and anterior ethmoidal. And the third division is called as the lacrimal division of the ophthalmic nerve. So coming to the frontal nerve, this is the largest terminal branch of ophthalmic nerve. It begins in the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus. It enters the orbit through the lateral part of the superior orbital fissure. Superior to the levator palpebrae superioris. It divides into supratrochlear and supraorbital branches. The supratrochlear emerges 1 finger breadth from the median plane, and it supplies the conjunctiva, upper eyelid, small area of skin above the forehead, above the root of the nose. The supraorbital nerve passes through the supraorbital foramina. It divides into medial and lateral branches. It mainly supplies the conjunctiva, central part of the eyelid, that is the upper eyelid, frontal air sinuses, the skin of the forehead, and the scalp up to the vertex or lambdoid suture. Next we have the nasociliary nerve. It's a terminal branch of the ophthalmic nerve. It also begins in the lateral wall of the cavernous sinus. It enters the orbit to the center of the superior orbital fissure. So it crosses the optic nerve from lateral to medial side along with the ophthalmic artery. It runs between the superior oblique and medial rectus, and it ends in the anterior ethmoidal foramina by dividing into infratrochlear and anterior ethmoidal nerves. So branches are communicating branch to ciliary ganglia, two or three long ciliary nerves. These are sensory to the cornea and sympathetic to the dilator pupillae. Apart from this, we have the posterior ethmoidal nerve, which supplies the ethmoidal and sphenoidal air sinus, and the infratrochlear nerve. The fifth branch is the anterior ethmoidal nerve. It lies in the anterior cranial fossa for a short time. Then it descends into the nose through a slit on the side of the crista galli. It divides into medial and lateral internal nasal branches, and finally emerges as external nasal nerve to supply the skin on the lower half of the nose. Coming to the third division of the ophthalmic nerve, that is the lacrimal nerve. This is the smallest terminal branch of the ophthalmic nerve. It enters the orbit through the lateral part of the superior orbital fissure. So it runs in the upper border of lateral rectus. It receives communication from zygomatico-temporal nerve, thus parasympathetic to the lacrimal gland, and it mainly supplies the sensory fibers to the lacrimal gland, conjunctiva, and upper eyelid. So next, coming to the maxillary division of the trigeminal nerve. Few branches are seen, as I already told you. You are going to find the infraorbital nerve and the zygomatic nerve. So infraorbital nerve is a continuation of maxillary nerve, enters through the inferior orbital fissure, then passes the inferior orbital groove, then emerges through the infraorbital foramina. It finally terminates by dividing into palpable, nasal, and labial branches. Here you can see the terminal branches, the palpable, nasal, and labial branches. So branches of infraorbital nerve are middle superior alveolar nerve, mainly supplies the premolar tooth, anterior superior alveolar nerve to the incisor and canine, also supplies the maxillary air sinus and anterior inferior part of the nasal cavity. The terminal branches are palpable, nasal, and labial branches. So zygomatic nerve is another branch of the maxillary nerve given off in the pterygopalatine fossa. It enters the orbit through the superior orbital fissure, and it lies outside the periosteum. It divides into its two terminal branches, that is the zygomaticofacial and zygomaticotemporal nerve, as it enters the zygomatic bone. The zygomaticotemporal gives communicating branch to the lacrimal nerve, that's secretomotor fibers. So these fibers we have already seen when we dealt with the nasolacrimal apparatus. The same thing has been shown in this slide. So coming to the sympathetic nerves seen here. So it arises from the internal carotid plexus. It mainly supplies the dilator pupillae through the ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve, that is the nasociliary nerve, and long ciliary branches. It forms a plexus around the ophthalmic artery. Direct branch may pass from the internal carotid plexus to the superior orbital fissure to join the ciliary ganglia. The other filaments passes along the oculomotor nerve, trochlear nerve, abducent nerve, and ophthalmic nerves. Note, all are vasomotor in function. So coming to the assignment, so you should know about the functional component, nuclei, course and distribution and applied aspects of the following nerves, that is oculomotor nerve, trochlear nerve, abducent nerve, ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve, and maxillary nerve. There is the maxillary division of trigeminal nerve in detail. Okay, so last but not the least, you should know about the ciliary ganglia.